In this video, we will show you on how to configure an S3 bucket on AWS for public access for static website hosting. In addition, we will also cover on how to integrate this bucket with your Anstrex account for easy upload of ripped landing pages. You will also learn on how to configure your personal domain name and associate that with the S3 bucket so you can have a custom URL for your landing page. Assuming that you already have access to an AWS account, let's dive into creating and configuring your S3 bucket on AWS. In the search box, type S3 to access S3's service dashboard within AWS. Click on the Create Bucket button, which will open a new page. On this page, the only detail we will provide is the name of the bucket. Choosing the correct name of the bucket is extremely important here. If you wish to associate your own domain name to this bucket, your bucket name must exactly match fully qualified domain name, which includes your host name or subdomain, domain, and top-level domain. In our case, it is www.checkycheck.xyz, and therefore our bucket name will exactly be the same. Rest of the details on this page will remain as it is, and we will go ahead and create the bucket. Now you can see the newly created bucket listed on this page. As you can notice, this bucket does not have public access yet. Let's configure this bucket for public access and static website hosting. Click on your bucket name to configure. Under the Permissions tab, first disable public access blocking by clicking the Edit button and unchecking the box. Next, go to the URL shown on the screen and copy the JSON policy text from the URL. Paste this JSON under Bucket Policy section by clicking on the Edit button. Please replace the text "Your bucket name goes here" with your actual bucket name as shown on the screen. Save the changes. Next, click the Edit button under Edit Object Ownership and click on ACL Enabled button. This is an extremely important step. Without performing this step, you will not be able to connect the bucket to Anstrex. Click on the checkbox to confirm your changes and then click on Save Changes button. Now, under Properties tab, click Edit button on the Static Website Hosting section to open a new page. On this page, enable the static website hosting and then type index.html under Index Document section. Save the changes. Please note the URL endpoint for this bucket. If you decide not to use your own custom domain, this is the domain name you must use in the URL of your landing page. Now your S3 bucket is fully configured for public access and website hosting, as you can see on your screen. You can check public access by uploading a small image file by clicking on the bucket name and uploading an image file by clicking the Upload button. After the image is uploaded, you can click on the image file name. Here you will see an object URL. You can copy and paste this object URL in a new browser tab. You should be able to view the image that you just uploaded. This verifies that your bucket is set properly for public access. Now, let's create credentials to allow Anstrex to connect to this bucket. Type IM in the search box. Click on IM to go to IM Dashboard. On the sidebar, click on Users. Click on Create User button. Give user a name of your choice. Click Next button. On the Permissions page, choose Attach Policies Directly option. Type S3 in the search box and select Amazon S3 Full Access. Click Next button. Click on Create User button. The user is now created. Let's create credentials for this user by clicking on the username. Go to Security Credentials tab and click on Create Access Key. On the next screen, click on Command Line Interface and confirm your choice. Click the Next button. On the next screen, there is an option to assign a tag value that you can ignore. Click on Create Access Key. You will now be presented with two keys, Access Key, which is visible, and Secret Access Key, which is hidden on your screen. Please download both the keys on your computer by clicking on the Download button and saving it in a safe location. Please remember that this is the only time you can download these keys. If you don't download or save this key pair, you will not be able to do this later, and you will be forced to create a new key pair. Now let's share this key pair within Anstrex to allow Anstrex to manage your bucket so that landing pages can be easily uploaded to your AWS bucket directly from Anstrex. In the drop-down menu under your user avatar, click on Manage Server Accounts. A dialog box will open. Click Add New AWS S3 account. Provide a nickname to the account. Enter the access key and secret access key that was downloaded from AWS. Click on the Check button. Once your AWS credentials are verified, you will see all the available buckets from your account. Select the bucket you want to use and then click on Save button. Now, you're ready to upload the landing pages from Anstrex directly to your bucket. Before we end this video, we want to cover the steps for associating your own custom domain to your AWS bucket. This step is completely optional. If you don't want to do this, you can still use the URL endpoint provided by AWS as mentioned earlier in the video. In order to associate the domain name to your bucket, you will need to go to your domain registrar's website and perform DNS record configuration. This procedure will vary somewhat depending on who is the registrar of your domain. In our case, the registrar is Namecheap, and we will go to the domain configuration dashboard on Namecheap's website. Under Advanced DNS tab, we will add a CNAME record. Before you add a CNAME record, make sure there are no other CNAME record which might conflict with your new settings. Click on Add New Record and select CNAME record from the drop-down. Under Host, provide your hostname or subdomain, which is www in our case. Under Value, please copy the URL endpoint given to you by AWS under the Static Website Hosting section. Remove HTTP and / from the copied URL as they are not required for CNAME value. Save the changes. Now, you may have to wait for some time to allow these changes to propagate across the web. You can check whether CNAME propagation has been completed by going to the URL of the image you uploaded and removing the S3 domain reference and only keeping your own custom domain as shown on your screen. Please make sure that you use only HTTP and not HTTPS, since SSL certificates are not configured for this. If your configuration was successful, your custom URL should work just like the S3 endpoint URL and show you the uploaded image in your browser. With this, we conclude this tutorial and we will see you again in another video. Cheers!